like really fat or
You guys are not, you're not built like us. Guys can say shit to each other, and guys are like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I got to fucking get my shit together. And women are just weak. So you say something, women are fragile. And here's they're also,
women are fucking stupid.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of truth to that. Women
oh
are,
my God.
women are weaker and dumber than men.
Weaker and dumb or emotionally intelligent?
No. Women, in a lot of ways, you could just say women are pathetic. And so when you have to speak honestly, you have to talk to a woman like you would a child. Hey, sugar and a lot of carbs, they actually aren't that good for you. Don't, unless you're going to expend a lot of energy. I think I might get into some tuna. Something like that. Something like that.
I hate you so much.
But it's not your fault. It's really just being a woman.
Okay, thank you. Bye now. Would you tell me if I
All right. Interesting conversation where I think most people or most men know this, and they've had this some version of this conversation though. But when he says women are dumb, I got to push back on that though, and it's only because women they've had men throw their lives away, and then they don't even care. A woman will burn down her family because you know what? Hey, I want to do something different. I want to go be myself. I want to live my truth. Like they'll blow up their whole family just to do silly stuff like that. And they will find another dude who she'll tell him his whole story, and then they still take her anyways. So when he says they're dumb, I don't think they're dumb. I think they know how to play their spots. They know how to emotionally manipulate, because at this point, they're physically not going to dominate us. But when it comes to like getting these clowns locked up, and how many men have lost their lives because of a woman's lie, plenty. We may have been victims ourselves, and we know people that were victims. And then over the test of time, there's plenty of stories where a woman's lie has changed the world. A la I forgot his name. Oh, Emmett Till. There we go. I don't know why I blanked on that. Emmett Till. So,
Oh yeah, she waited until right before she died to admit that she lied on him.
Yeah, and nothing's going to happen to her. Nothing's going to happen to, the family legacy. Not going to pay any type of reparations. Ellen of Troy. I'm trying to think of some other. Oh, the woman that says she saw a baby cross the road, the orange baby or whatever, the brick lady. They'll tell all these lies, face no repercussions. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a smart one.
Tons of stories.
What's that?
So, full disclosure for the people that are unfamiliar with this podcast, they're husband and wife, and they're both comedians, and they talk to each other like this all the time. So
I kind of picked up on that.
I say all this to say, yeah, they're definitely husband and wife. No, I don't think women are dumb, but I also think that you can't talk to them the same way you talk to men. He kind of made a statement that he said women are children in essence. And I don't know if you remember Mr. Leggo. He used to say that all the time. And what I've learned is...
Yeah, I bet.
He may have. I don't know. Somebody said it. But I've learned that men code switch around women 9 times out of 10 because they have to. Look, if me and you got an issue, I'm gonna hit you and I'm gonna say, hey, man, that was kind of some whole shit, man. And hopefully, if you're a man of reason and logic, you're going to listen, and maybe you might agree, or maybe you might slightly agree, but at least you can have the conversation. You can't talk to a woman like that. If she's slipping up on something, you can make the point, but you have to present it differently. You got to kind of sugarcoat it a little bit. Hey, I don't appreciate the way you handle this. Let's talk about it. And that's not generally how we deal with each other. He gave the example of a friend who was getting fat, right? And I've lost 30 pounds in the last year. And people like you and another mutual friend that we have were quick to remind me that I was picking up some pounds, right? So, but it wasn't a big deal to me because that's just how we talk to each other. Now, how many husbands, I know plenty of husbands who will tell me privately that their wives are getting too fat for them to be attracted to them, but they can't tell them because they know that they'll overreact and get hypersensitive and start overreacting about it. So,
or they'll take shots at you.
They might, yeah. And again, we can't talk to each other the same way, and that's kind of where the communication gets lost.
Yeah. I think some men can get away with, having that. Like, obviously with these folks, they can do it. But men do have to get to a point where they got to stop being afraid of the consequences, because what's going to happen is that it's going to mess up. Like, think of, you got an employee working for you, and you're too afraid to tell that employee or check that employee, like, hey, you're fucking up. You got to do something different, or you got to make some changes. Well, if you don't say anything, well, you're going to lose some business, and you potentially waste people's time. And then, essentially you can get fired. And so, I've been in relationships where I was just trying to be the nice guy and trying to be like, hey, let me say it this way. No, I'm just going to be a little more direct about some things. And people don't like it. People don't like it, though. Like, because I think men do have to get back to the, having those frank conversations, because most women, most women, most women that are confident in themselves, and they negotiate they don't have a problem negotiating their salaries. They know who they are. They carry themselves in a like in a professional manner, and they can have like the conversations with anybody. The majority of women cannot do stuff like that, and because of stuff like that, that impacts those types of dialogues between between the sexes. And so they're expecting everyone to kiss their ass. But see, the problem is that they don't respect you when you do stuff like that. They don't want you kissing their ass. I mean, they want
We
you
got
to.
the perfect example with Kevin Samuels. Remember, they used to always say it was his delivery, not the message.
Yeah, they're like, well, if you say it a little bit different, there have been plenty of men that have said it differently, or said it. I mean, Derek Jackson for one, and they still end up in heartbreak, or they still don't get the results that they're looking for. So you either got to be okay with delivering that information, and I think it's more so in the men to start doing that stuff collectively versus women starting to understand, like, hey, this is you shouldn't be talking to me like that, and I'm gonna go to HR, blah blah blah. Like, no, this is the thing. Like, in general, I just gotta tell you the truth, and I'm not saying be completely mean about it. You definitely gotta use your words, but you have to be able to like deliver that message in a frank manner, but also like you're talking to a guy, though, because the more you sugarcoat, the more you dance around it, the more the message gets lost or bastardized, because you're too afraid to like hurt feelings. When it comes to like firing people, the funny thing is, when it comes to like firing people, and it's generally going to be HR, it's going to be a woman. They have no problem telling people the truth.
They
They
got
have
no
no
choice in
problem.
that situation. No choice at all.
Yeah.
I look, when you talk to women, you have to make it an emotional conversation. And I'm not an overly emotional person, but I have to like throw words in like I feel, or that makes me feel. But I don't have to do that with the fellas. I just make my point, and they got to deal with it. We're
Mhm.
more direct. We get to the point. You can have a man and a woman tell the exact same story, and the man can probably tell that story in 5 minutes, and she can make it into a 10 or 15-minute
Yeah, it has
conversation.
to be an experience.
Yeah, and that's just the differences. I don't expect women to process things the same way that we do. I've made peace with that a long time ago. Yeah, my wife told me on multiple occasions, I've seen how you and your friends talk to each other. I don't want none of that smoke. And I get it. When you're dealing with other men, you gotta have thick skin, and you can't be sensitive.
Yeah.
They don't
And
operate like that.
And to your point about how women talk to each other, what I've been seeing lately happen is the men acting like that. And I get it, black men's health,
Yeah.
black men need to, they hurt as well too. I get all that stuff, though. Unfortunately, for all of you men, nobody gives a damn. Nobody's going to
Nobody.
make any changes. And again, this is men in general, black, white, Asian. I mean, Asians got the high mortality rate. I don't see anybody going over there to help those guys suicide rate. I don't see anybody going over there and talking to their communities, because nobody cares. So as much as I think there is a conversation to be discussed when it comes to like the mental health and everything. Find your group, but it's not going to be online. It just isn't. You got to
Nah.
talk to men in person. You got to be around men so you can like boss up. Because when you try to have these conversations online, and I've seen plenty, and groups that we're in, And then other groups, when they start going down the path of men's health and, you know, nobody's listening to us, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no one is ever going to listen to you. And people just giving you these simple answers, they're not helpful as well either. We're doing exactly what we're doing to the women by patronizing them and making it sound like, you know, you should feel seen. You should feel valid. Like, nobody cares about any of that stuff. They care about, honestly, it's what you can do for them. That's just what it is. That's the name of the game. So, you know, as much as I would like people to have an open and, you know, honest conversation about mental health, and then the way we can talk to each other, it's just not going to be possible, though, because not everyone's going to run on that. Everybody runs on, men, you got to do this for me or you ain't shit, but nobody's going to run on, you know, hey, women, you need to be able to do this. Like, because we got too many simp enforcers out there that will just let it pass. They'll just say, hey, you know, she's a girl, you know, or a woman, you know, it's her, you know, she's telling the truth probably. Let's look into this, or, you know, pull back a little, like blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know why men push themselves to do stuff like that though, but we got enough evidence to show that we should not be doing stuff like that. And we should be having, like, you know, honest conversations with each other without people, like, you know, trying to play some narrative or whatnot.
Yeah. And my challenge to any woman who's listening right now, when you're talking with your man, ask him, how much do you censor yourself around me? How much do you bite your tongue or sugarcoat things when you're talking to me? You might be a little amazed with that answer because it's more often than you think. I'm fortunately in a space where I don't have to walk around on eggshells anymore, but I know too many men who are still struggling with that and they can't speak up and they just want to keep the peace. But no, sometimes you got to have the battle because otherwise it's just going to fester up and you're just going to be frustrated. Whatever the issue is, you got to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that at the beginning too. When you get into relationships, trying to set boundaries, and it's like, well, why'd you say this in your group text? I'm like, don't read my group text. It's going to hurt your feelings.
Yes, it is. Though that's when the dog comes out for most of us, and you don't want none of that smoke. Just no, and stop trying to be masculine too, because it's not a flex. It's really not. I know y'all want to act tough, but y'all still women at the end of the day. You can't take the heat, and I'm gonna need you fellas to get back to your masculine and learn how to take feedback and criticism without getting in your feelings.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, but good luck to y'all out there.
Good luck.
All right, next topic.